Hey, everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
Welcome back to For the Booze again.
Yay!
And we're all done with island life now.
We are.
Unfortunately for us, that just means we're back in the full-fledging heat again.
Ew. It's so gross.
You don't love it?
No, not at all.
You don't love the 90-degree days in the beginning of springtime?
No.
Come on, you're a Florida girl.
Yeah. That's why they make AC. Hello.
For you AC
I spend
babies.
Like 70% of my year inside.
We probably spend more than that.
It is so miserable outside.
It's awful, but hey, it's over for everybody else. Not for us, but we're moving on. And I remember last week I said I'm very excited to do this place. I learned about this place years ago when the current owner bought it. He had a YouTube series. A lot of people, I think, are going to know what this place is. Mm-hmm. It's become pretty popular.
It has. Yes.
But yeah. No listener story this week, by the way. Still.
Boo.
I can't believe it. This might be the longest we've gone without one.
I know. It's sad.
Are we going to start paying people for them?
Ugh, that's lame. Maybe we will just have to take to Reddit.
Okay. The only problem I have with Reddit is I don't know what's true and what's not.
I know.
But you know what?
Sucks.
I guess it doesn't matter. As long as it's a good story, who cares? But this week, we are going to stay here in the U.S. of A. because we've been kind of branching out a lot.
USA. USA.
Okay. And we are going to actually go to Ohio.
Ohio.
Ohio. We're going to go to Madison, Ohio. I don't know how they talk up there. Pretty sure they're like, we're from Madison, Ohio.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're pretty country up there.
They are, which I still think is weird because it's kind of the I think of it as the Midwest. I know it's not.
It's not.
It's not. But I would put it into like the Virginia category where it's like, I'm sure it's technically the South. Or
yeah.
No, that can't be true because some of the story would contradict that, I believe. Oh, I can't remember what I wrote now. But either way, I just don't think of it as a southern place like Virginia. Virginia seems very north to me. But yeah. I mean, it is part of the South, you know.
Quote unquote the South.
But we are doing a very cool place today. I love this place. I think, like I said, a lot of people are going to know what this is. We're traveling to Madison, Ohio to visit
Madison Seminary.
That's right, the Madison Seminary. And I don't know how popular it was before, say I think it was like 2013, but a YouTube paranormal channel bought this place. Well, the owner of the YouTube paranormal channel bought this place. And even though it was already open to the public for investigations, he kind of made it, that's what it is for now.
Kind of put it on the map.
It really, yes.
Yeah.
And every one of your favorite groups, as long as they're big enough and they travel enough, has been here. Everybody's been here.
I know.
And to be honest, this is one of the few places that we have done. I'll let it go right now. There's not a lot of bad stuff to be found about this place. It's only really good.
Oh.
And good in the way of like when people go there, they want to go back. They have what they claim are phenomenal experiences there.
Wow.
So there's got to be something to it.
There has to. And I think we should find out what that is.
I think we should too. Should I go right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's get started.
Okay.
Lake County is a county in the U.S. state of Ohio. As of the 2020 census, the population had grown to 232,603. The county seat is Paynesville, and it was established on March 6, 1840, from land given by the Cuyahoga and Geauga counties. Its name is derived from its location on the southern shore of Lake Erie. The land that became Lake County was home to the indigenous Erie people prior to the arrival of the French in the region during the early 1600s. and considered by the French to be part of their colony of New France. Ceded to Great Britain in 1763, the area became part of the province of Quebec through the Quebec Act of 1774. Following the American Revolutionary War, it became part of the Connecticut Western Reserve in the Northwest Territory. Then was purchased by the Connecticut Land Company in 1795. It was separated out of Geauga County in 1808. The Madison is a community in Lake County, Ohio. Although residents did not formally establish Madison, which was named after President James Madison, until 1867, the first white Americans to settle in the region arrived in the late 1790s. The community grew relatively slow, having less than 800 residents in 1880. For most of the 19th and early 20th centuries, many residents earned their living as farmers or found employment in harbor communities on nearby Lake Erie. In the years prior to the American Civil War, Madison residents assisted hundreds of fugitive slaves to freedom in Canada along the Underground Railroad. In 1845, there was no public school system in Madison, Ohio. Male preteens and teens were either apprenticed out, their parents hired tutors to teach them, but not everyone had money to hire private tutors. Many young people in the city of Madison, Ohio, needed an economical way to get an education. An entrepreneur stepped up to the plate and started a boarding school for boys named Madison Seminary. A wooden structure at 6769 Middle Ridge Road, now known as Wittenmeyer Cottage, was completed in 1847, becoming a place of learning as well as living. It proved to be a godsend for students of the time. It was a lot cheaper than hiring a private tutor, and also offered more opportunities to succeed than an apprenticeship would offer. It proved to be an excellent, affordable private school, resulting in an avalanche of student applications flowing into the Madison Seminary headquarters. A new brick structure, Ohio Cottage, was added in 1859, making room for a student body of 150 students. By the late 1800s, the public school system was finally up and running, offering free education for students who might normally be interested in attending Madison Seminary. However, a change was coming. In 1891, the property was bought by the Women's Relief Corps, the female division of the Civil War benevolent organization, the Grand Army of the Republic. These organizations were the champions for the needs of Civil War veterans, their widows, their children, and others who had served the Union cause. The Women's Relief Corps renamed their new property the Madison Home and built the western wing to make more room for more residents, as the need for help kept growing. The second floor of the Ohio Cottage had the rooms used by the Women's Relief Corps administrator and his family. The rooms to his apartment ran along a hallway. Visitors can see the fancy tin ceiling shining through the shredded plasterboard that covered them up. This apartment was also used for administrators of other organizations who made use of the building to serve the people of Lake County. As well as being the home for the widows of men killed in the Civil War, Wittenmeyer Cottage was the residence for female nurses and spies. Elizabeth Stiles was one such occupant, a retired Union spy who stayed there from 1895 through 1898, spending the last 3 years of her life there. Before the Civil War, Elizabeth was a school teacher and seamstress who worked in Chicago. She met and would marry a man named Jacob Stiles. Both were very anti-slavery in their convictions. In the late 1850s, they would move to Kansas, a state that had both pro-slavery and anti-slavery sentiments among its citizens. And violence would often erupt between these opposing camps. Elizabeth and Jacob were very vocal about their beliefs and were not afraid of the pro-slavery crowd. They were warned to keep their beliefs to themselves in fear of the repercussions. When this brave couple refused to do so, members of the Confederate guerrilla group Quantrill's Raiders came to the door and shot Jacob in cold blood. Elizabeth was spared because she was, quote,
too pretty to kill.
according to an Ohio Madison Seminary tour guide. Elizabeth's daughter and son were also spared by the Raiders, deemed not to be at fault for their parents' beliefs. Elizabeth became active for the Union cause when the Civil War broke out. Abraham Lincoln noticed her and asked her to be a spy, so she masqueraded as a Southern grandma in search of her granddaughter's father. Her 13-year-old daughter, Clara, posed as her granddaughter. Her other disguise was that of a nurse in Confederate hospitals, and it worked for a few years, until her true identity was found out in 1864. She would escape capture, but her days of being a spy had come to an end. The financial demands for upkeeping the seminary's large buildings became too much for the Women's Relief Corps. So in 1904, the property was donated to the state of Ohio to be renamed the home of the Ohio soldiers, sailors, Marines, their wives, mothers, widows, and Army nurses. According to the annual report of the Board of Managers, fiscal year ending November 15, 1905, both the 1845 Wittenmeyer Cottage and Ohio Cottage were in need of major improvements. A rather large wish list was sent to the governor of Ohio, totaling $150,000. The 50-year-old Wittenmeyer Cottage was bluntly described as being dilapidated and antiquated, in desperate need of being torn down. There was no love for its beauty and history left. The Board of Managers didn't notice that the structural bones were still in great shape. The board's inspectors found that the 1845 standards that were in place for sanitation, water, and heating departments were not sufficient for the modern age of 1905. It was suggested that a new facility should be built in its place to meet the needs of the folks who were living there. The Ohio Cottage, with its west wing, fared better in the committee's evaluation, but hadn't been renovated enough to continue acting in the capacity of a, quote, home. While the upper floors were fine, the lower floor and basement housing the laundry, kitchen, furnaces, storehouse, and dining room created an odorous aroma. Odors that came from those areas would, quote,
penetrate the entire building. The odors detract from the proper, healthful, and comfortable use of living rooms.
There was no separate hospital on site to take care of the needs of the residents, which meant that they were probably treated in their own rooms, too close to healthy residents. There was no isolated area designated to keep any sicknesses away from the healthy residents. The 1905 annual report suggested the construction of 3 new buildings. Besides the replacement structure for Wittenmeyer Cottage, a separate building for the laundry, kitchen, and storehouse, and a structure for a hospital was proposed. Furthermore, Ohio Cottage should have a wide porch in the front for residents to enjoy. After the report was presented, the existing structures were significantly renovated to meet the standards of the time, but nothing was torn down. No new buildings were erected at this time, and the front porch was not built. The buildings were thought to be in good enough shape that major renovations would bring them up to a code so a, quote, home could exist there after all. Instead of a front porch, a large, park-like grassy area with trees was landscaped in front of a massive building. It is to be suspected that as part of the renovation efforts, the kitchen and laundry room were given better ventilation systems to expel the odors that were created there. The sewage system was definitely brought up to code at this time, as well as the water supply safeguards. By this time, everyone knew what caused typhoid and cholera. The interiors of all the rooms were given an upgrade. Bathrooms were updated, and a hospital section was created. However, many years later, in 1959, a one-story hallway was constructed between Ohio Cottage and its east wing, when the need to connect the buildings became very apparent. For years, the structures were filled with people who were separated according to their needs. Some floors took care of the elderly, who needed nursing care or assisted living. There was a hospital on one of the floors. Widows still lived in the revamped Wittenmeyer Cottage. It served military families throughout the 20th century. 2 world wars and the Korean War would make its services very relevant. In 1962, because the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs now offered care for the needs of veterans and Social Security took care of widows and children, the management of the home was transferred to the Ohio Department of Mental Hygiene and Corrections. The new name became Opportunity Village. Widows were sent to other homes and children went into foster care systems. Opportunity Village was the new name of this facility as it offered opportunities for model women inmates from the Women's Ohio State Reformatory to participate in vocational rehabilitation programs, learning how to take care of the Ohio Cottage's elderly women who suffered from dementia and senility. They would live on site, which must have been better than living at the prison. Opportunity Village lasted until 1975, when funding problems finally shut down the innovative program. The nursing home and mental hospital staff continued to live on the same floors as their charges. The doctor had his own office near his patients. Hard-to-handle psychiatric patients from Cleveland State Hospital were sent here. They were heavily medicated and were just warehoused in this institution. While Ohio Cottage's 3rd floor housed mentally ill women, West Wing's 3rd floor housed the mentally disturbed men. Lake County later took over the property in 1977. Soon after the change, the entire property was listed on the National Register of Historic Places on February 22, 1979, as this was a property that was much loved by the community. Madison Township decided to lease it from 1978 until 1993. The administrative offices of the City of Madison were moved inside, as well as the city's police and fire department. Educational classes for junior college students would occupy the 1st floor during this time. By the end of 1992, the buildings needed a cavern of money to restore and upgrade the inside necessities, so the whole property was put on the rental real estate market. It is believed that this may have happened due to its resident spirits having made an appearance during this time. It can be found in the Lake County's ad for tenants. It stated that it could be leased for a bargain price, and also included a warning that the buildings had spirits. It wasn't surprising that there were no takers from 1993 through 1998, leaving all of the space to the spirits that were attached to it. No one seemed to have the heart to tear it down, as it was loved by the Madison community. It had been a lifeline to those in need for such a long time, making a difference in the quality of many people's lives. Much to the relief of Lake County, Case Mill Nurseries bought this huge property in 1998 for the sum of $28,500 to be used as offices and storage. The Cassell family owned it for several years. The Madison Historical Society got its foot in the door when it was allowed to set up a museum in a portion of the structures, showing all the good work that had happened there over the years. Except for the nursery offices and the museum, most of the floors were empty of any living souls. Spirits, on the other hand, seemed to have no problem with the aging interior and were not shy with the people who were there. A new business venture was then born. When the Cassells realized that many spirits still adored this place, Tom Cassell began to sell ghost tour tickets costing $40 each. He would show ghost enthusiasts through the old, haunted buildings. After this place was discovered as being paranormally active, the Cassells began to cater to ghost hunting groups, which brought in needed funds to help to maintain this large structure. It became very popular with ghost hunters from all over the country, and nobody left disappointed. It was even featured on television programs such as My Ghost Story, Haunted Collector, Seminary Spirits, Ghost Games, Destination Fear, and Most Terrifying Places in America, and many, many more. In 2013, a ghost hunting group led by a man named Adam Kimmel did an investigation at the seminary. Now, Adam was quite impressed with what he found. 3 years later, he and his group came back to film an episode for his YouTube series about haunted places in 2016. He would then decide to buy the property, right after the Cassells put this notorious real estate opportunity on the market in 2015. The buildings are strong structures and will stand for hundreds of years, which is what they have going for them. Their exteriors look great and have a wonderful curb appearance. Much work has been done in repairing the outside of all the buildings. While starting this daunting task that he has ahead of him, Adam found the help along the way from many volunteers from the surrounding community. He states on the Madison Seminary website, quote,
We have an amazing team of people who have truly revolutionized our lives by their selflessness and friendship in our time of need, and we will never be able to express our gratitude.
People have been known to have meeting and greeting experiences with the spirits at the Madison Seminary since Lake County took the reins of the property. They may have had personal experiences much farther back in time, but they were not reported. There are so many spirits there, it would be hard not to notice their antics. Paranormal investigators were let inside for tours and for investigations for a fee when the Cassell family owned this huge property, as they realized they had a spectral company from the very beginning. Boatloads of ghost hunters have long been treated to the full paranormal package, from sounds, disembodied voices, touches, and personal appearances of the spirits who reside there. Whoever came in to investigate, again, never left disappointed. Much hard evidence has been caught on tape and EVP recorders, backing up what people have experienced. They say many spirits still reside there, not yet willing to go to or stay in the spirit world for a variety of reasons. They're not a shy group, and they feel free to be themselves, not afraid of being made to leave. But what about you? Are you willing to take the tour or investigate Madison Seminary? Are these tormented souls, or are they spirits who possess a fondness for a place that meant so much to so many people? There are only questions that can be answered by the spirits who wander the halls of Madison Seminary. But are you willing to go find out for yourself?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So am I. I would love to go there.
Me too.
They have tons of experiences of this place, like an incredible amount.
And it sounds like for a really long time it's been going on.
It has been going on for a long time.
I mean, noted, I think, since what the Cassells moved in, you said 1998 or something.
I think
like
there's
that?
experiences that date back to for like 30 years. But who's to say stuff hasn't been going on? Because not everybody was super keen on being like, this place I work at is haunted.
Yeah.
Or,
for sure.
it wasn't quite as endearing as it is now when people are like, hey, haunted house, let's go. Like, people back then were like, don't tell them it's haunted, they won't come here.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the novelty that it is now. So there's no telling. And I read somewhere it was like hundreds of people died here.
Wow.
You know, like, you got to think, it was housing people from 3 different wars, you know, elderly people, the senile, the mentally ill,
Right.
Prisoners, all kinds of stuff. But I will say, the one thing that impressed me about this was the program that the women from the reformatory would actually come here and be rehabilitated by working with, senile and dementia patients.
Right.
And I didn't find anywhere that this ended up badly at all.
I think it's a good mix, especially to do for like rehabilitation purposes. I think a lot of, not to say that men don't, but women especially have more of a compassion and caring side.
What do you mean?
To them.
Come on now.
And to put them with, women, they could kind of see themselves becoming one day old and senile.
Yeah,
and, it's going to happen to everybody.
I think men tend to have a wilder look at life than women do. Women. I'm not going to generalize all women because clearly you can't put everybody into one little circle. But I think the majority of women, they hit a point in their life before men where they start to kind of see what the end of life might look at and start to care.
Yeah.
Where men are just like, we care. We just don't slow down quite as fast.
No.
For the most part.
You don't say.
Now, some do, and it's changing. Like with the newer generations, it is changing.
It is,
but most of the people from my generation were just, ooh.
Go, go, go.
Yeah, I didn't start to settle down until I was like in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, you mean when you met me?
Yeah, when I met you. But yeah, so I think that's what it is. But it's very impressive to me that I didn't find anything that said that this was a bad mix at all. And usually you'll find stories like that, like, the program was in jeopardy because an inmate stabbed a patient.
Yeah.
Or, God forbid, some of the other stuff they find them doing these days. But nothing like that.
I think it's really cool how this building came to be. Like a lot of the young men in the town didn't have schools. They didn't have anything.
Quickly that ended though.
And they were just like, all right, here's a school.
Yep.
Just poof.
And I really enjoy the fact that instead of tearing it down, the people of the community said, no, this place helped too many people, so we'll leave it up. And I remember I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel, and I apologize to everybody listening that I didn't go look it up because I should have. But I did used to watch it, and I watched all the episodes of like when they first started going to this place. Mm-hmm. And it's a different time on YouTube paranormal investigating. They do some stuff that feels super weird, but if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. But they had these, I'm sure you probably don't remember, but when I bring it up, you will remember me watching this. It was that group that would go in, and part of their investigation was reenactment.
Oh, my gosh, yes, I remember.
But that's the guy who bought the place years ago.
Okay.
And it does feel really corny watching it. It feels super cheesy. But if you really think about it, is that a bad idea, though?
No.
You're reenacting a time period in which these spirits could possibly feel more comfortable with.
Right.
So
and
it's
they
worth
recognize
trying.
more than people running around with backwards caps and cameras and stuff.
And they went full reenactment. Like they wore the clothes. They talked the talk. They, would say things that would be in line with how they would say things back then.
Yeah. And it's awkward to watch, and it would definitely be awkward to do in an investigation. I don't think I could get behind it and go like full in on character, Mm-hmm. I'd have this weird, all right, what are we doing feeling?
I will look this up and tell you everybody what the channel is by the end of this episode.
Okay.
But I will warn you, there are parts of it that you will be like, this is fake. And you'll know it's not the investigation parts. And so that's a good thing. You'll know them when you see them.
Yeah.
But you should take the time to watch the channel. Like they do, they do have a lot of good stuff.
They do good investigating. The build up to the investigation, though.
Yeah, but I don't think they were. You got to remember, this was in like 2013. This was before what we know now on YouTube.
Right.
So this was kind of like the Wild West of YouTube investigations. Because if you think about it, it's what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's only 5 years after like Ghost Adventures has been on TV.
Yeah.
So it would have been like really like a new era of going on to YouTube, because YouTube hadn't even been out for that long at that, so watch it for what it is, and just, you'll know the parts that don't feel quite right, but the rest of it watch it, you'll know what I'm saying. But I will have the name for you at the end of it when we kind of do our wrap up, because I want to get that out there. And I am pretty sure we will probably have some EVPs at the end of this. I can't imagine we wouldn't. This place has been visited by everybody, but that is the history of the Madison Seminary. And there is just something about this place that is very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
I love the way Adam has set it up. Each room has been kind of customized to the backstory of the spirit that supposedly lives there. And like I said, if you look around the internet, the worst reviews you will find about this place is we went there for a night and didn't have an experience. That's like the worst thing you'll find.
And that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's not a bad thing, because like we've talked about before, you can't expect to go in somewhere and just be like, yep, it's happening.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we've yet to come across a place that has this many positive reviews, or at least the ratio good to bad. Like, it's just never been this one-sided before.
Right.
It's very impressive. So I say we're probably going to take a break. Boo. But when we come back, we're going to listen to some of your stuff, and then we're going to scour the internet for, I know there's going to be EVPs. I just know it. I know there is. I've seen too many.
I know. I just want to add one little comment about your story.
Yes.
How badass are Elizabeth and Jacob?
Oh, dude.
I'm just saying.
I was reading that. I was like, whoa. And she was a spy for years.
That's so crazy.
For years. She would pose as an old granny.
That's so crazy.
With her daughter being her granddaughter. Dude.
Insane.
Dude, lady's a G.
Yeah.
Lady's a straight up
for
G.
real.
In a time when ladies didn't even do that kind of stuff, where it was almost like they weren't allowed. She was like, no, I'm doing this.
So cool.
And like, she just stood, her and her husband just stood against slavery to the point where they didn't care.
Yeah.
They were willing to like straight up fight in the streets, but they didn't care. Unfortunately, though, it did get them killed, so that kind of sucks.
Dude, you reading that, I was like, yes!
Until
it was
got
just
shot.
so great. Yeah, well, that sucks, but...
But, I mean, it probably changed the course of history, so...
For sure.
She, her mark was made, and clearly she did some good work, because here we are talking about her all these years later, so... But I guess it's time to take a break, so we'll be back after these ads.
And now, Booze Crew, back to the show. The Madison Seminary sits quietly at 6769 Middle Ridge Road, surrounded by trees and many well-kept flower gardens and ornamental shrubs in Madison, Ohio, at the intersection of Highways 84 and 528 in Lake County, 5 miles west from Geneva and Ashtabula County. The Madison Seminary is a historical 4-story red brick and white gabled federal-style structure in Northeast Ohio. It consists of 3 wings, which were constructed at separate times in history, and consists of almost 100 rooms. Once used as an office building, much of the main floor has been restored, while upper floors and rooms are in uneven states of restoration. Several of the upstairs rooms are vacant and devoid of any furniture. Some people believe in haunted houses and cemeteries, and some people don't. Is it just your imagination, or is it true? Are there ghosts and spirits with us? Or is it the wind in the ground settling below us? In Madison, Ohio, there is a large old building that has been around since 1859, and that several people have speculated to be haunted. Several people here have reported sensations of being watched, while others have seen figures wandering through the location just out of view. Several people have reported being intimidated by something residing on the top floor. The building of the exterior offers up no hint of its rich history or the range of emotions from its former occupants who once called it home. The dated interior hints that time has stopped decades ago, as the hallways lead to empty rooms harboring secrets of its residents from long ago during its 160-year history. If the walls could talk, many of us would be willing to listen. Quote,
"What I do know is I have been in this building my own fair share of times since the late 80s, and it was quite the spooky place back then."
Former owner George Flaniston comments, quote,
"When I was there, it had high ceilings, paint flaking off the walls, big heavy doors that squeaked when you opened them and shut them, and a dark, long hallways, and lots of strange sounds from other rooms. Yes, everything you need for a ghost to live in."
For years, people have been saying that the location was haunted, as well as that a lot of people died in the old building. Several of the people who died there were eventually buried next door in the cemetery near the house. Between 1978 and 1992, the Madison Township office building, as well as the Madison Township police station, had been located there. They say that many spirits call the Ohio Madison Seminary buildings home, as they had spent a great deal of time here during their lifetimes. Many others were dedicated to their work in helping and taking care of their charges. They don't mind the dreary interiors of the buildings, seeing them as they were when they were living. It's safe to assume they all have their reasons for staying. They all interact with the living and are not afraid to show their feelings. Among the spirits that are claimed to reside here at Madison Seminary is the spirit of a male nurse. He is reported to be a very tall spirit. He has been sticking his head into each of the spectral patients' rooms to check on them. They say he is possessive of the room where he stayed while alive. He took a dislike to a tour guide because she reminded him of someone he had issues with while he was living. They claim that he has openly shown his feelings towards her on many occasions. There is also the spirit of Sarah. She was either a young girl or a woman with senility who was dropped off by her family, who was no longer able to take care of her. She has often made herself known and will talk with any investigator like a young child would. The owner and other people have made her room very inviting for her. They say Sarah is a very happy spirit. Visitors have left her dolls, things to play with, books for her, and a rocking chair as well. There are signs that she plays, reads, and even rocks in her chair. Her room has a bed and a bedspread that a young girl or a senile woman reliving her childhood would like. There are pictures that have been placed on her walls that people claim make her happy as well. There is also the spirit of a mentally ill man. They say he is a very combative, mentally ill spirit who takes no abuse from paranormal investigators. Those who tried to provoke him are pushed out of the room and scratched. As a spirit, he is freer to show his feelings now that he takes no medication to calm down and to control him. He doesn't seem to like the living to come into his room and has often shown displeasure. Other male spirits on the third floor are twin boys who have stuck out their heads around corners of their rooms to watch investigators and tour guides. They say these young male spirits are very friendly and willing to talk to the living through EVPs. There's also the spirit of Elizabeth. In Windermere Cottage, Elizabeth Stiles allegedly makes personal experiences in front of the staff and has said she is not shy at all. Wearing mid to late 1800s attire, they say she likes to float around the house and is very content to be in such a grand place where she spent her last years. There are claims that she may converse with mediums or paranormal investigators, as she is still as brave as a spirit as she was in life. It is believed that she approves of the furniture that is on display, and she has claimed this home as her own, that she is willingly sharing with the living. The claims are that she has moved into one of the rooms on display with furniture that she likes, as she continues to reside here. Another spirit that is claimed to live here is the spirit of a boy. They say that spirit's name is Stephen. In Whittemere Cottage, this spirit boy, like Elizabeth, makes personal appearances to the living. It is believed that he continues to enjoy the activities he did while he was alive. The Ghost Hunters team in 2019, led by Grant Wilson at the time, headed to Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio, to investigate claims from the owner alleging aggressive paranormal activity and a sudden rise in fear and discord among the staff. In the episode, quote, "There's something in the seminary," the team investigated an array of claims, ranging from disembodied voices, shadow figures, footsteps, pinching, and even physical assault. During their investigation at what has been the site of more than 200 reported deaths, the crew splits up, with Rachel Stratton and Brian Murray heading to the asylum and its operating room, while Brandon Alvis and Mustafa Gadalori head to the Civil War building. Upon their exploration into the unknown, both teams experience wild phenomena that simultaneously sparks a strong reaction of pain and uneasiness in Stratton and Alvis, followed by a visibly shaken, yet altruistic Murray, who asks the entity to leave his friend alone. Stratton says the experience left her feeling all sorts of uneasy and uncomfortable.
Quote, "As soon as we got up into the asylum, I felt uncomfortable and kind of creeped out in general because it had a different feeling than the rest of the building. I was okay until we went into that one room that they thought was an operating room. But as soon as I went in there, I started not feeling good and my stomach really hurt bad, and I took a step out."
Stratton added, while Murray stayed behind at the time because he was, quote, "okay," she had to step out and did her best to collect EVPs as part of their investigation and work through it. Quote,
"But while I was out in the hall, I was getting an intense amount of pain in my back. I have 2 children, and the closest thing I could describe was back labor without an epidural. Like, it was so intense that it brought tears to my eyes."
Stratton also added that when something that powerful happens, she believes it's the entity trying its hardest to reach out. However, despite understanding their unique mode of communication, she stresses it's then that the entity needs to pull back just a little bit in order for help to be transmitted. Quote,
"It's like the entity started to shut me down more than I should be shut down because I have to deal with my own discomfort,"
she said, adding that it's hard to help anyone when that kind of energy is being conveyed. Quote,
"The crazy thing about it was that, so Brian's my best friend, and he doesn't ever like to see anything like that happen to me, ever. But in the field, I am more sensitive to certain things, and I don't always go off of that. I kind of let it help me, but I don't let it just direct my investigation completely. But the crazy thing about it was, he was not okay with that happening to me. And he was like, leave her alone. And you can do whatever you need. Deal with me. And it was like after he said that, it just went away.
Accounts like this, and many others, like hearing children playing, women in conversation, and footsteps, are just some of the claims made by several people who have been inside the Ohio Cottage building. Claims that the building is haunted go back many decades. Lake County Administrator Ken Guntner, who had an office in the building when he worked for Madison Township several years ago, said he believes there is some kind of activity going on. He said that even though he never saw a ghost, he had several other employees who did experience several unexplainable things, including hearing footsteps in the hallways, doors opening and closing, and the intense feeling of being watched. He said several employees claimed to have seen a woman walking in a second-floor hallway or standing at a second-floor window. He recalls the time Channel 3 Cleveland was reporting and filming there, when cameras stopped working. At the same time, recording devices would record conversations and minutes later play back the conversations to stunted news crews. As the news anchor stood on the front steps of the Ohio Cottage, Gunter, who was with the anchor, said she noticed her voice recorder recording their conversation. He said she became frightened and quickly moved away from the area. Within seconds, he had a piece of glass from the upper fan-shaped window blow out and shattered where she had been standing moments before. There have been many stories from this location, so we thought we would take this episode out on a few personal experiences we could find from the internet. Nicholas Davis from Facebook writes, quote,
My team, Purgatory Stories, and I got the pleasure to investigate this amazing location. January 18th, 2020. It was a great night, and the staff and owner are a great group of people, very down to earth, and give off such positive vibes. The building holds a lot of energy, and on the majority of the floors, we experienced everything from disembodied voices, both male and female. We would get direct responses to our questions with EMF and disembodied voices. Our spirit box was acting funny all night, so we didn't get to have the session that we wanted this time around, but have been told the spirit box sessions are very active and welcomed by those that still wander the halls. Our team believes that the location holds a lot of residual energy, and so far, from our experience, at least one intelligent resident who still resides there. If you ever get the chance to book this location, you will not be disappointed.
Melissa Ann from Facebook writes, quote,
The location was amazing all night and through the morning. We've had more action there than we've had at any other paranormal event. The building itself was very inviting, well kept, and clean too. Being paranormal investigators, we truly appreciate how the tour was set up. Shelley gave an amazing historical introduction. We felt comfortable and relatable to her. She gave us hospitality and even investigated with us. We will be back very soon. We were blessed to catch evidence of whistles, frequent sounds of different shoes walking through the hallways, apparition sightings, intelligent responses, and all individual ghost gadgets, creepers or shadow people, unexplainable orbs and light, face morphing, and last but not least, a whole ton of battery and electronic device draining.
Yet another Facebook review from Terry Parma says, quote,
Visited last night. Very cool experience. Twice in 2 separate rooms, I felt the back of my hair get touched. I had put my cell phone in my pocket and zipped it closed. Tried several times during the tour to unzip it. My daughter-in-law tried, but could not get it open. When our tour was over and I was in my car, I gave it one last attempt, and it unzipped. You decide. Very cool experience.
And one last review from Facebook from Marion Every says, quote,
What an awesome location. Adam and his crew gave us a lot of history of the site and are working on getting more details on the individuals that lived and worked there, as well as the current structures. They had equipment that picked up many EVPs that answered our questions. The feelings were strong throughout the site, but for me, were strongest on the 3rd floor. I strongly recommend this location, not just for the evidence we discovered, but because Adam and the crew thought of everything to ensure a great experience.
And with all of these comes hundreds and hundreds of positive reviews from people who claim to have had paranormal experiences at the Madison Seminary. If you're a fan of YouTube paranormal investigators, then there's no doubt you'll probably know a lot about this location, but there's still so much left to learn. Are you willing to take a step back in time and walk the halls they claim are still occupied by the former residents? Are you willing to go find out for yourself? And what do you think? Is the Madison Seminary truly haunted, or is it all just one big story?
I don't think it's a story.
No?
I don't know.
You don't know?
There's a lot going on there.
Yes, no, maybe so.
There's a lot going on there.
There
And
is.
I
There's a lot.
had to read through so many reviews on Facebook from this place.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's a lot. And they're all, like I said, they're all pretty positive. Like nobody really says anything bad about it. They just either have experiences or you don't.
Yeah. And this place is it's a big place.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Like you said earlier, so many people have gone here and investigated. It's not like the last few episodes that we had where no one has gone and investigated. This is a very open and honest about their activity.
It was very refreshing to do a location that people actually there were stories for and people have been to.
That you could find things on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because the last couple islands, while they're rumored to be haunted, and maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I couldn't find anything about them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But listen.
Except for like the history side of things,
Yeah.
which is still super cool.
Yeah, very. I did find some EVPs. So we are going to get to listen to some EVPs.
Okay.
And this first one is coming from a YouTube channel by somebody named Eric Williamson. This is back in 2019. And it says nothing. There's literally no description. So
okay.
we will just, I guess, we're just going to check it out. And it's not very long. It's about a minute and a half. I have no idea what this is because I haven't listened to it, and neither have you.
No,
So
we have not.
Let's see what they say.
This clip was recorded on the first floor of the Madison Seminary or Ohio Cottage in Madison, Ohio. We left a recorder running on a chair in the middle of the hallway while 2 investigators sat on the floor alone. The rest of the group was downstairs eating at this point in the evening, and the 2 investigators never moved from their position inside the chandelier room. No one was on the stairs at any point during the session, and the investigators said you could hear a pin drop while they were on that floor. We at CPRS don't quite know what to make of this recording, but hope to capture it again soon.
That made me feel very uncomfortable.
Every time that replayed, I got goosebumps.
That wasn't replays.
What?
There were two different clips that they replayed like 2 or 3 times. That was more than once.
Ugh. I did not like that.
And that made me feel very uncomfortable.
It sounded like someone in so much pain.
Well, they claim that it was somebody laughing. But
if it was laughing, that person is not okay.
I didn't like that.
No.
I can't even describe how much I did not like that. And
I was literally pulling my headphone away from my ear.
I am bummed out that I am going to have to listen back to that while I'm editing.
Oh, lucky you.
That made me so uncomfortable.
I did not like that.
Oh my God, I feel like I need a second. That was almost like listening to that clip that Ashley sent in with the candle.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh man, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Can we move on? I need something refreshing, please.
Yeah. So here's another clip from Facebook. I don't know what this is, honestly, but we're gonna listen to it anyways because that's what we do. And it says, this is actually coming from Facebook.
Okay.
And it says, here's a clip from Madison Seminary using one of Jeff Fent's boxes with Jeff. It was truly an amazing experience. So I don't know what we're about to get, but I say, let's check it out.
Let's do it.
You see that?
Yeah.
Now that box is starting to act weird.
That's weird.
It's like it's taken out all my boxes. Don't mess with my box.
That was weird. Can you tell us what your name is? What name you were giving me upstairs? Or were we downstairs somewhere?
Yeah, downstairs.
Reeves?
That's what I mean.
Is that your first name or your last name? Neither?
Oh.
Then what does that mean? Devil?
Oh. Is that the best you can do?
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
I mean, don't kill my box.
Yeah, please don't mess the box up.
Yeah, my box.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was like one of those. It's not. What do they call those?
The
portal.
Portal. Yeah.
It's something like that, or like a Phasma
Or
box,
Geo box,
Yeah, it
or
was to
something.
that effect.
Geoport.
And I definitely heard the woman's voice talking to them.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
That was weird.
It was weird.
That
Those always like, I don't know. Those make me feel weird. Like it's always like this background noise of something going on.
Well,
You
but
know what I mean?
could hear the voice saying "devil" and
Well, yeah, it like pops through, but it's like a constant undertone of like a. I don't know. It's weird. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, so here is we've got a lot of like little clips, but they're not like really descriptive as to what they are. So we're all just going to be like kind of listening to them together for the first time. And this is going to be another one from, I don't know why Facebook is popping off with all this. But this is from
Good job, Facebook.
Beyond the Veil Investigations. And it says, Madison Seminary and what they call the Blair Witch Room. We captured this awesome EVP as soon as we entered. The energy inside this room grew very intense within minutes. We can't wait to go back to Madison Seminary. This location is definitely one that everyone needs to visit. So I guess this is going to be an EVP that they recorded. And this one's not very long, so let's check this one out.
Awesome.
We are in, the room that they call the Blair Witch Room. I guess when they first purchased this, they found this thing sitting.
I just heard that.
There's a
I heard it.
Did you hear it? I'm gonna play it.
I did not.
I'm gonna play it again. I did, but as always, I'm watching the screen. But if you listen really close, you can hear a woman's voice.
Okay.
And they hear it clearly.
Yeah.
They stop and notice it. It's actually pretty good. I actually really like this one. But just listen. There's only supposed to be 2 voices.
Right.
Okay, so listen real close.
We are in, the room that they call the Blair Witch Room. I guess when they first purchased this, they found this thing sitting.
I just heard that.
There's a
I heard it. I heard it too.
There's a voice that comes in there, and it says, "Our place."
Our place?
Yeah, and it comes in kind of under his voice while he's talking.
Oh, see, that's why I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's right, kind of like the second part of where he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, it's very whispery, but you can definitely hear it. Pretty good one. I like ones like that aren't like punch you in the face experience that I had. You know,
It's
because
just kind of like a little something, something.
yeah, because it feels, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like something that would be fabricated. I'm sure they are sometimes, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. They just, I don't know, they feel more authentic because they're not like overdone. Like you didn't walk into a room and all of a sudden something was like, I'm going to murder you.
Yeah.
Or
It's not like all up in your face, crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems, I
Authentic?
hate always saying like more realistic because I don't know. I honestly don't know, but that's what we have. There's a lot more on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, and I'm not going to TikTok. So if you look out there, there are tons of investigations online that you can look for.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of groups go here. A lot.
I think just about everybody's been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think almost everyone has. So we've talked about the history. Oh, and that's right, Booze Crew. It is called Resident Undead is the YouTube channel of Adam Kimmel from back in the day. Like I said, it is like 10 years old, and there are parts that you're not going to like, but there's parts that I really think you should watch for, and some really good stuff goes down there. I think some of the best EVPs I've ever heard come from that YouTube channel. So
Wow. That's crazy.
check it out.
I remember you when you told me the name of it and like our little ad break there, and I was like, I want to remember that. You were like, yeah, it's because you watched like one part, and you're like, nope, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
And then I remembered me saying
It was
that.
it was the reenactment part,
Yes.
and you were like, I'm not watching that.
No,
It's fine.
I can't.
I'm not going to force you to.
I mean, I'm sure there's good stuff that comes out of it. I really,
There
really
is.
am. I can't get past that part.
Booze Crew, be more open-minded than Megan, and just go watch it. You'll like it. Maybe. If you don't, I'm sorry. But we've heard the history and the hauntings, and we've listened to EVPs, and we even heard personal experiences. So there's just one more thing to do on the show before we leave, and that is...
Is it real?
I'd like to know, too. Megan, do you think that the Madison Seminary is real?
I definitely think this place is real. I think there is true, authentic things that come out of this place. I think I feel like the spirits there have been there for a long time, and it may be like the same spirits because a lot of people get the same types of activity going on. no matter who it is, when they go in, how long it's been. It's all seems to be the same kind of stuff. And when you watch a lot of videos of different people that go there, it all seems to be very true. And I want to explain that further, but I think if you watch paranormal stuff, you just know.
You feel it.
Yeah, you get that feeling where it's like,
and we're pretty judgmental, so
we are when we watch paranormal stuff.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So I think this place is real.
I know your microphone cut you out.
I know it did. So, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's real.
Okay,
This is a place that I love, and the thing that I love about this is, unlike a lot of places, the spirits here don't seem to be haunting it because they hate everybody.
Yeah,
this place is different. It's almost like spirit stayed behind because this was a place that helped everybody. This was a place that people fell in love with. I couldn't even find stuff about like the mentally ill people being abused or anything. Like this place seemed like it was. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It happens everywhere, but for the most part, this place seems to be loved by the living and the non-living.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that nobody's really. I think they have very little bit of like malicious stuff, but it's not malicious like you would hear at other places. It's like the spirit of the guy who you can't go in there and provoke him because he doesn't like that.
Or you can't talk to him in like a stern manner because
No.
he's like, hey, what that, like, what?
Yeah, well, you don't provoke him, right? So I just feel like it's different from everywhere else because this place isn't built around terror and fear and, horrific deaths. It's centered more around a place that people were well taken care of and loved and had a place to go, and it was like a pillar of the community, and people still love it. So
Yeah.
I do. I think I want to believe that this place is totally real. I do, and I think it is. And I don't know if Adam Kimmel ever hears this. Please, I would really like to go check it out. Invite us out.
I know.
We'll do a podcast in the Madison Seminary.
That would be so cool. But I like how refreshing this place is, especially in its history and the things that have happened here. Because most of the time we talk about
Death. We talk about death
and like trauma and
Yep.
torture, and a lot of places that do the things that this place did is awful, just absolutely awful. And
but
I feel
not
like
here.
I feel like this place is just a nice, refreshing.
Refreshing.
Refreshing
I'm gonna make a shirt that says "refreshing."
refreshing change, and I enjoyed that very much.
Give me a shot of some refreshing booze.
Got to get that refreshing drink.
That's right. But yeah, this is a place this is probably in my top 3.
Ooh,
I love this place. Since the first time I saw it in a video, I was like, I wanted to go here.
yeah,
It's up there with like Waverly and Bobby Mackey's for me.
nice.
I would love to see this place in person. So
It's been a minute since we watched a video on this place.
I
Maybe
know.
we should go do that now.
sure,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yes, let's go watch a video. But before we do that, I am excited because we get to do something now because this place is real. And we get to give it the
Big old seal of approval.
That's right.
I got to do it.
Again.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just letting you do it all every now and then now.
I like it. I feel very empowered when I say it.
It's funny because like when I edit the voice for it, you can tell it's you.
Well, duh. Just like you try to
The big
change
old
my
seal of
voices.
approval.
Just like when you try to change my voices when I read like other people's stories, I try to make it not sound like how I read, but it still sounds like me, even with the voice effect.
Just sounds like a woman, like a feminine person with just a deeper voice. That's all. Because you have a very feminine voice. I love your voice, so I'm not picking on you. I think you sound very attractive.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. And I guess this is going to be it for this week. Yes.
I have something.
Okay.
Okay. So, Booze Crew, Steven and I love to go
Thrift
thrifting.
shopping. Yeah.
We love to go thrifting. We thrift for clothes. We look at everything. We find cool little treasures. So the other day, we were at a thrift store here in town, and I'm going through the clothes racks, same clothes racks I've gone through. I couldn't even tell you how many times because we go to the same places and we love them. However, this time, I got goosebumps and a rush of adrenaline standing in the middle of a thrift store staring at a shirt.
Okay.
And it says, I'm here for the booze.
Right. Just the random shirt on the rack.
Super random and has a little ghost on it. However, he is holding a little tiny wine glass.
That's okay.
And it's the cutest little thing I have ever seen. And it just made me so very excited. So if you're excited about it, keep an eye out. We may pop up a little picture on social media.
That would be dope.
Of the shirt.
And if you got one out there, post a picture and
Yes.
tag us in it or something.
Oh my gosh. Man, and it wasn't even like BOOZ. It was BOOOS. I think it was like 3 or 4 O's. But like booze.
No, it's right there. Hold it up. I'm pretty sure it's just BOOS.
No, it is not.
Come on.
I promise.
Come on, let's do this. Yep, BOOS. That's right. No, I'm just kidding. You were right. It has 3 O's. Close enough. But if anybody out there has one, take a picture with it and add us wherever your social media preference is. We'd love to see it. Maybe we'll collect all the pictures and make a collage. And hang them up
gosh.
somewhere.
I was so excited. I just needed to share that with you.
And if anybody wants to try to, because like we don't have a lot of time. So I've been thinking about changing the logo.
Oh.
And if any of our listeners out there would like to take their hand at art, draw up a cool logo and send it in. And I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll do something like make you a custom T-shirt or something and send it to you.
Oh my goodness.
How about we do that?
Freaking awesome.
If we can get a listener to draw up something that we like, we have to like it. I'm sorry, I can't play favorites, people. And we like it. We have a friend who does custom shirts, and we will make you a custom For the Booze shirt and send it to you.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
But
okay. That just made me so excited.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Wow.
So this is where we're going to end it. And where can they find us?
Well, if you would like to send in your drawings, you can send them anywhere in the following locations. You can find us on Facebook at For the Booze.
That's better.
And on Instagram at @forthebooze_podcast.
It's like you forgot all of our social medias. You can also find us on Twitter at For the Booze. And if you'd like to listen to us on YouTube for some reason, we think that's pretty rad too. You can also find us at For the Booze. And send in your listener story suggestions and I suppose also drawings so we can maybe try to get something going on.
New logo.
Yeah, at For the Booze 12.
Oh, I forgot. You forgot.
For the Booze 12 at gmail.com. And I mean, as always, rate and review.
Yes.
Rate and review.
Rate, review, wherever
We've
you
had
listen.
a couple like on Spotify and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. I'd love to see Apple go up, but I'll take Spotify. I'll take them wherever I can get them.
Either way works. We like hearing it. We like seeing it. And we appreciate you guys.
That's right. It's your way of being part of the show without having to do any of the legwork.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we will love you forever for it.
Just excuse us tonight, guys. It's late.
It's late.
We're sleepy.
And we're pretty excited. I've been pretty excited to do this one for the last couple of days. So we're just having a good time. And we had a short week last week.
Yes.
And, you know, we've been doing like the For the News, which we will have another one. But, you know, we never wanted to do it every week.
No, we didn't. It's building.
It was maybe going to be like once a month.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for some more stuff to come in revolving around the Destination Fear thing. A few things have come out, so I'm sure we'll be covering it in I don't know, in a few weeks.
I'm excited to kind of like build up a little bit and then we like make a really maybe some juicy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is where we're going to head out this week. And I guess we'll be back next week with whatever we do.
All right, that we will.
Are you here for the booze?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.